right, I'm gonna strive for two more. I have an idea for two more. Hopefully we can do it. If we run a bit long on the first one and I have to shorten things up, I have a good one for the second. But I do think we'll be able to do two more. All right. So what we're gonna do, chat, is we're gonna do a drinker video. We're gonna do a drinker video talking about 2020 Hollywood in 2025. Or as the title suggests, 2025, the year that broke Hollywood. Yes, Gore, the real drinker. This is, just to show you, you can see it's from the drinker's actual channel. We're not doing that AI counterfeiter. We're doing the real, the one, the only, the true critical drinker. All right? So, let's see what he has to say about Hollywood in 2025.
Oh dear, 2025 hasn't exactly been a bumper year for Hollywood, has it? In fact, the recent news that they just recorded the lowest October box office in 30 years caps off what's shaping up to be one of the most depressing 12 months in cinema history.
Oh my god, the lowest box office? Okay, I knew Hollywood was in bad shape. I did. I didn't know that this was the lowest box office Hollywood has seen in 30 years. That's insane. The only one that I know of is Tron Ares. I believe Tron Ares released in October. That is the only major movie that I can think of off the top of my head that released in October is Tron Ares. And that's it. And it bombed. And Tron Ares fucking bombed. The first Tron movie did kind of flop at the box office, but obviously it achieved a massive cult following once it went on to home movie. I don't recall how well Legacy did in the box office. I don't. Legacy was okay. Tron Legacy was just okay. I don't think it held up very well against the original. Wait. No, Badlands. Badlands was November. Yeah, the new Predator Badlands movie was last week. So that was November. The only major one I know of was Tron Ares, and it fucking bombed. There was even, I don't know if Drinker's gonna talk about it, Jared Leto even went to theaters in California to hype up the movie. He actually went in person. There was a whole production where he walked into the theater, and the theater was half empty. When he would walk into theaters to hype it up, going in with the camera crew and trying to hype them up, hey, doing the hype man thing, the theaters were all half empty that he went to. And this movie's just, from what I hear, it's bugged. It was bad. But the worst Hollywood scene in 30 years? That's very telling. And it's just, will this change Hollywood? I don't know. I would like to think this is a wake-up call, but God only knows these days.
Yes.
A year marked by a drastic downturn in new productions in LA, even as foreign markets start to take over, a summer movie season of tired sequels and decline in franchises that never really took off, and a fourth.
Oh my god, yeah, okay. The new Jurassic World, I heard was nah, at best. At best, I heard Jurassic World, the new Jurassic World, fucking whatever the hell, Jurassic World, The Search for a New Plot, was meh at best. Rebirth, okay, fine. And then Thunderbolts got hyped up so much. The day it launched, I didn't hear a fucking thing about it afterwards. They desperately tried to hype the shit out of this movie. After it released, I didn't hear a fucking thing. I don't even know if it bombed or not. I don't even know if it did well. And like at the day the day after it released, radio fucking silence, and I didn't hear a fucking thing about it, which is not good. And yes, the derp wrecks. Yes, the derp wrecks. Yeah. So, okay, Revolver Ocelot, you say it's good. Colonel, you're saying you're mad about Thunderbolts. Are you mad about Thunderbolts because it was bad or because it didn't get the praise that you think it was due? Out of curiosity. Because again, after its release date, I haven't heard a fucking thing about it. The Eminency, this is Thunderbolts. This right here, this is Thunderbolts. You got Crimson Russian wannabe Captain America. You got Bucky Barnes. You've got U.S. Agent Jack Walker or John Walker. You have Ghost from the Ant-Man movie. And then right over here, you've got Yelena, who is now Black Widow. It bombed because people have been conditioned to just wait for streaming since COVID. Plus, it's just too expensive. That's fair. That is a fair assessment. Revolver Ocelot. I personally did not I haven't cared about a Marvel movie in years at this point. I don't give a fuck about a Marvel movie. The last Marvel movie I watched was Deadpool and Wolverine. And even then, before then, the last Marvel movie I actually watched was Endgame. I don't think I watched any Marvel movies since. I watched a couple of their series post Endgame, and that's it. I have not given a fuck about Marvel. I have not cared. I have not cared at all about Marvel for a long time.
Marvel has the same problem as DC movies. Zero director leadership. You have 10 different directors doing whatever they want.
That, and they have no respect for the franchise. Disney has no respect for the franchise that they have. They had a monster franchise. They had it served up to them on a silver fucking platter, and they just pissed it all away. In service to the message. And they just pissed it all away. Other than Bucky Barnes, whom I've heard that they didn't really do much with Bucky. With the exception of Bucky Barnes, I do not give a fuck about any of these other characters. Not one bit. I do not care about any one of these characters in Thunderbolts. Including Taskmaster, who is not in this picture right now, because they regendered Taskmaster, because of fucking course they did, because it's Disney. They of course took Taskmaster, who was a big beefy guy from the fucking Bronx, and they turned him into this tiny little girl. Fuck Disney for doing that. Fuck Disney for that bullshit gender swap. They took a big buff dude from the Bronx and turned him into this tiny little fucking Russian girl who, is a girl boss. Fuck you, Disney. As I said, I don't give a fuck about any of these characters except for Bucky. And Bucky still has not been given the proper characterization and proper movie that he was due. He still hasn't gotten that.
That never really took off, and a fourth quarter that's delivered nothing but disastrous flops and unwanted propaganda flicks. Damn.
Wait, Crimson, did they kill off Taskmaster? I suspected they might have because Taskmaster was only in a handful of the promotional material, and I wondered, are they killing Taskmaster off in the very beginning of Thunderbolts? Yeah, I know. Yeah. Not intentional. Promise it. Promise it.
Man, even Sydney Sweeney couldn't save the day. So how the hell did it come to this? We were all told that survive until 25 was the mantra going around Hollywood, that after years of lockdowns and strikes and pandering to the message, this was the year that Tinseltown was finally going to get back on track.
You sure about that? You sure about that?
Yeah, so that didn't happen. If anything, their situation seems worse than ever, and there's not much on the horizon that's going to turn that around. So let's take a little look at that October headline and see if we can make sense of it, shall we? According to the Hollywood Reporter, October has seen the lowest box office return since 1997, when they took in just $385 million. Although if you actually bother to adjust for inflation, which you probably should because it's kind of a big deal these days, that number's more like 700 million in today's money.
Wow.
But whatever way you choose to look at it, it's been a shitty month for Hollywood movies, and it's been driven mostly by a complete lack of anything worth watching. Tron Ares was the big tentpole movie of the month, a disastrously bad sequel made by a company that isn't just scraping the bottom of the barrel for old IPs, it's now digging several hundred feet below it. You can tell they wanted to release this thing in the summer, but they knew it could never hope to compete with the big wannabe blockbusters, so instead it got punted to the October dumping grounds. One battle after another was a typical Oscar bait Hollywood wankfest that feels like it arrived about 10 years late to the party, pushed out onto a weary audience that's now thoroughly sick of political lectures. Nobody was interested in this one, and
what the hell even was this? I didn't even know this movie was, I've never even heard of this movie. Did any of you guys? It definitely, are you serious, Garrett? This was an Antifa movie? This was a fucking Antifa movie? Oh my sweet fuck. Is that what it was? Oh, fuck. Yeah, that's a big fat nope for me, dog. Is it what? You like, oh, Jesus. Okay. Well, is it any surprise that this fucking bombed?
That's now thoroughly sick of political lectures. Nobody was interested in this one, and the whole thing came and went like a fart in the wind. Even The Smashing Machine, which was supposed to be The Rock's big comeback movie, marrying his star power with indie filmmaking sensibilities, failed to make any impact whatsoever. It wasn't exactly a bumper year for horror movies either. Yeah, Good Boy offered up a novel spin on the traditional horror film, but with a $6.5 million haul, it wasn't exactly setting the box office on fire. The only big horror movie of the month was Black Phone 2, a pretty by-the-numbers sequel that brought in $70 million domestically. Ironically, the one movie that could have actually turned it around was Frankenstein, but for reasons best known only to themselves, Netflix gave it the most limited of theatrical releases purely so it could qualify for Oscar consideration before punting it straight onto streaming.
Wait. Netflix did a limited release for Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein? Guillermo del Toro makes a movie and you do a limited release before throwing it on streaming? Fucking Netflix, man. Fucking Netflix. Anybody surprised? Holy shit. Well, Garrett, in truth, the majority, every Frankenstein movie that has come out in recent years has not been a faithful adaptation of the Mary Shelley book. I want to say there have probably been somewhere around minimum 4 or 5 Frankenstein movies that have come out in the last, decade or two, and not one of them have been in line with the Mary Shelley Frankenstein. Realistically. Yeah, Andrew, I know. Netflix is fucked 10 weeks to Tuesday.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for them.
All of these bad decisions collectively hampered the October box office, but the bigger issue, I think, is the complete lack of theatrical.
Raising! The bigger issue? Yeah. I see 2 very large issues that I'm very happy to engage in. I will say I'm very happy to engage in these substantial issues.
theatrical momentum. Basically, people just aren't that motivated to go to the movies right now, and the longer this goes on, the less likely they are to come back. And that particular problem
She has
can be
two
traced
very
all the
large
way back to
talents,
the
Moss.
so-called summer blockbuster season, which consisted mostly of disappointing sequels, awful remakes, and dreary franchised movies that we've seen a million times before. The superhero genre continued its sad descent into cultural irrelevance. All three of the big Marvel movies failed to make an impact, and even James Gunn's Superman by James Gunn barely managed to struggle past 600 million. I don't care what anyone tries to tell you.
Oh, fuck. If I'm not mistaken, 600 is maybe just barely over breaking even. I'm reasonably sure the Superman movie was somewhere around 3 to 350 million to make. And then you factor in marketing, and they marketed this movie heavily. They might have just barely broken even or slightly gone into profit, I think. Oh, we actually lost 46. Thank you, Robin. Okay, so Superman lost 46 million. It brought with the 600 million worldwide box office take, it lost 46 million. Again, that's the key thing. With all of these movies, it's lose, lose, lose. Like almost every Hollywood movie that has come out in 2025 lost money. Either it barely broke even or it tanked hard and lost tens or even hundreds of millions of dollars. Like almost every single one.
Warner Brothers were absolutely expecting $1 billion movie out of that one. Jurassic World Rebirth, the 7th movie in the franchise, did better with 870 million worldwide and ultimately won the battle of the box office in July hands down, even though it made over worldwide and ultimately won the battle of the box office.
Chat, a bit in the midnight. It's the Derp Rex. He's eating them at night.
In July hands down, even though it made over 130 million less than its predecessor, and it was so fucking dumb and forgettable that I genuinely have to remind myself it even exists. Mission Impossible Final Reckoning was yet another big franchise sequel and another major disappointment with a pointless...
Yeah! Oh my god, I barely heard about this movie. I knew it came out, I don't even know when it came out, and I never heard a fucking thing about it. I did not hear a thing about this movie. Yeah, but I mean, same. I heard something about, like, it had a major stunt, and that's it. Didn't hear a fucking thing otherwise about it. You said they went full DEI after Darcy? Hell, honestly, that surprised me. Considering Tom Cruise is executive producer, that actually surprises me that they went full DEI with Mission Impossible. That's very surprising. And, what was the other one? Hang on. Yeah, Black Wolf, what you said about that the Derp Rex is the Rancor. I said that. Check the tapes. Back when it was first announced, back when Jurassic Park Rebirth was announced, and they showed the Derp Rex, what did I say? It's on my fucking YouTube channel. What did I say? I said it looked like the fucking Rancor. I called that just from a 2-second shot in the trailer. And I had said, that's a Rancor.
A convoluted story and an ending that failed to live up to the movie's title. Lilo and Stitch, the biggest Western movie of the year and the only Hollywood production to break $1 billion, was another live-action remake of a fucking 20-year-old animated movie.
Son of a bitch!
Remake of a 20-year-old animated movie that fucked the ending. This was a 20-year-old animated movie about family. The entire point of Lilo and Stitch was Ohana means family, and family means never being left behind. How do they conclude the live-action Lilo and Stitch? Donnie gives up Lilo to foster care so she can go to college. She literally leaves family behind and lets her sister, her little sister, go into foster care so she can go to college. That's how they ended the live-action remake of Lilo and Stitch. And, like, if that, yeah, Bubbles was not Bubbles. The live-action Lilo and Stitch was a slap in the face to people that know the original. It was a slap in the face about the entire concept of family. They completely fucked the characterizations. They fucked Bubbles big time. Like, they completely changed Bubbles in a way that was pathetically stupid. And it's just the ending, though. Yeah, like Jumbo was always kind of the villain. He was always the villain. Until like the very end. Until the very end, Jumbo was always the villain. But they didn't even have the actual big bad, the commander guy, I forget, the one who kidnaps Lilo that Stitch has to rescue at the end. Like, he wasn't even in the fucking movie. Guntu, thank you. Yeah, Guntu. He wasn't even in the movie. It's Disney. This is why I don't watch Disney movies anymore. Because Disney literally is out to destroy every single one of their franchises. Every single, ever since 2020, probably even before that, Disney has been on a mission to literally destroy its own legacy. That is what Disney now is. Disney is all about, it's literally the Ouroboros of eating its own tail. And its only purpose is to just destroy itself. Take all of its classic, beloved franchises and say, how can we destroy these in the most epic way possible?
So was How to Train Your Dragon, in fact, and I can't shake the feeling that the success of both movies was predicated on parents in their early 30s.
Now, How to Train Your Dragon, from what I heard, was pretty good. From what I heard, the live action How to Train Your Dragon was actually, at least from what I heard, I haven't seen it, I've heard that the live action adaptation was treated well and treated respectfully. Because it wasn't Disney that did it. It was DreamWorks that did How to Train Your Dragon. So How to Train Your Dragon made money because it was a live action remake, but it was done with respect to the original. They at DreamWorks actually treated this property with the respect that it deserved, and they made there was reservations with the casting, but everything I've heard is that it was that it was good. I've heard that it was good.
I can't shake the feeling that the success of both movies was predicated on parents in their early 30s wanting to relive their childhoods while shutting their own kids up for a couple of hours. In fact, it's kind of telling that by far the biggest movie of the year wasn't even made by Hollywood. Yeah, like 99% of its revenue came from Chinese audiences, but make no mistake, the moment Chinese filmmakers figure out how to produce domestically popular movies that also have global appeal, Hollywood is fucked. Add all this stuff together, the disappointing franchise films, the forgettable superhero slop, and the cynical remakes of old classics, and you end up with a heady cocktail of forgettability and apathy that absolutely killed people's excitement for going to the movies. Instead of being pumped up and inspired by a packed season of hit films that became cultural events, the mood heading into autumn was more like quiet disappointment. Like, is that it? Is that all we're getting this year? It wasn't exactly helped by a dismal August and September, populated almost entirely by re-releases and stale holdovers from the summer. Was it all terrible? No, of course not. Sinners got a lot of well-deserved praise, but its sensibilities were more like an art house film than a tentpole feature. Weapons was a fun little horror movie that definitely kept us entertained, but again, it wasn't enough to become a major event. One of the few genuinely decent big-budget summer movies to come out was Joseph Kosinski's
Enemy movies
F1.
is already embarrassing Hollywood on a much lower budget.
Well, they've been doing that for years, Robin. They've been doing it for years. People will much rather watch an anime than they will a Hollywood film. And they have for a long time. In fact, that's why I've said the superhero movie genre needs to end. Live action superhero movies should not be made anymore. Do away with them. Do away with them entirely. DC and Marvel need to stop making live action superhero movies and do strictly animated. Take all of that money that they were going to put into their live-action superhero franchises and put it into their animation studios and do really fucking good animated movies with great stories, great arcs, and big voice actors, like big names for the voice acting. That's where DC and Marvel need to redirect. Get out of the live-action shit and go into animation. And then they might actually start seeing success.
Film that actually left me feeling good in a way I hadn't since Top Gun Maverick. But even that couldn't repeat the Top Gun success and finished up with 630 million worldwide. Not terrible, but not exactly stellar either. And most importantly, another movie to add to the list of films that nobody really talked about after it left theaters. The point I'm making with all this long-winded bullshit is that Hollywood failed to generate the kind of cultural and financial momentum over the summer that it really needs to keep things ticking over until the holiday season. It's been a depressingly uninspiring year for the most part, with nothing to really get fired up and passionate about, and it's leaving people with fewer and fewer reasons to go to the movies. Then there's the other problems that have been brewing for years now and are really starting to bite in 2025, like the rise of streaming services and the increasingly short release windows that are actively incentivizing people not to bother with the cinema experience.
Yeah, that's a big key point there, is that a lot of these movies that are releasing on theater, they are literally on streaming 1 month later. They are not even waiting a month these days before most theatrical releases get thrown on to streaming. So why in the fuck would you spend $50 going to the theater when you could just wait a fucking month, it'll be on streaming? Not years plural, Garrett, but typically speaking, way it used to be is a movie would come out in theater and then approximately 8 months to 1 year later, then it would get released on home video. And now you're not even waiting 30 days. Sometimes we've seen them simultaneously released on the big screen and streaming simultaneously. Why would anyone want to go to the theater? Realistically speaking, theaters are probably going to be dead in the next 5 to 10 years. Realistically. With the current trajectory, theaters will go away in the next 5 to 10 years. Because people simply do not want to go to the theater. They do not want to burn that kind of money for a theater experience for dog shit movies. They don't want to. So the Hollywood's not making money. The theaters are not making money. We've already seen a number of, we've seen a lot of theaters already close. A lot of theaters around the country have already fucking closed. And I'd say theaters as a whole will die off in 5, maybe 10 years on the outside. The theaters will be gone. And all movies they'll just release the movies on streaming services, and that's it. And when that happens, mark my words, when that happens, we're going to see what they did with Mulan on the streaming services. They'll release them on streaming services, so Disney movies will only release on Disney. You're going to see Warner Brothers Paramount movies only release on Paramount. They're going to segregate the releases to their individual streaming services, forcing you to purchase multiple streaming platforms in order to see the movie that you want to see. And on top of that, when they do new releases, When the theater dies and the new releases come out on streaming, pay more. Because that's what they did with Mulan. When Mulan came out simultaneously in theater and streaming, you had to pay on top of your Disney Plus fee, you had to pay an additional like 25, 30 bucks on top of what you're already paying for Disney Plus to watch Mulan at release. I will guarantee you that's the route we're going. The route we're going is theaters will go away. It will be strictly streaming services. The releases will be segregated to their individual studio platforms. And the brand new releases, you will have to pay extra in order to watch them. That's the way that we're going. And yes, the result is that the high seas are going to get quite full these days. That's what we're going to see.
Why pay like $25 and drive for an hour, then sit through another 30 minutes of trailers to go see a movie you don't particularly care about anyway, when you can watch it in the comfort of your own home in a matter of weeks, and you won't have to deal with some dickhead in the row in front talking and farting his way through the whole thing. Shit man, big screen TVs and projectors are so cheap now that most people can afford a pretty decent home cinema setup. And yeah, obviously it's not going to compete with IMAX, but be honest with yourself, most of the time, who the fuck even cares? And there's just no avoiding this next one. Hollywood's obsession with identity politics has been slowly killing it over the past 10 years, bringing down every big money-making franchise, stunting projects that might otherwise have been successful, alienating half their potential customers, and souring them on the very people who used to get arses in seats. Movie stars. I've talked at length about the self-righteous actors who make it their business to lecture the rest of the world on how to think and act, but now it finally feels like the collective culture of Hollywood is slowly trying to distance itself from a culture war they've clearly lost. Shit man, even Jennifer Lawrence, the first female action star according to Jennifer Lawrence, finally seems to have realised that there's a world outside of her safe, privileged Hollywood bubble, and a lot of the people in it...
Yeah, she backpedaled on that shit. Real fucking fast. She backpedaled. For those of you who don't know, Jennifer Lawrence did like an interview or a podcast or something where she proclaimed herself to be the first female movie action star. She did that. This one right here. This woman right here proclaimed herself to be the first ever female action star. For the Hunger Games, referring to the Hunger Games. And now she realized...
It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
And now she's backpedaling going, I might have been wrong saying that. Yeah. She's come to realize that was an incredibly stupid thing to say. Not only because it's untrue in spades, but because it is pretentious as fuck, and people are done with pretentious LA Hollywood actors. They're done with it.
Don't agree with her political takes. In fact, about 100% of them don't even need to hear her political opinions for any reason, because she's a fucking actor, not a political pundit. It's not her job to voice her thoughts on this stuff, and it never was. Yeah, you could probably argue she's about half a decade late to the party on this one, and she's only saying it now because her career's on the kind of trajectory that makes the Hindenburg look like a model of stability, but I think her sentiments reflect a growing acceptance in Hollywood that when you're in the business of entertainment, well, politics is bad for business. I know, it seems pretty obvious to us, but what can I say? I guess they're kind of retarded in that part of the world. So what exactly...
Like, Hollywood agents, studios need to lay down the law on this and tell their talent, shut the fuck up about politics. They need to write it into their contracts that if they start talking politics while they are employed by a studio or while they're promoting a project that they are in, it needs to be written into their contracts that they are either A, they owe the fucking money, or B, they're off the project. That needs to start getting written into their contracts. When you are working on a movie, when you are promoting a movie, politics does not enter your brain. You shut the fuck. Politics and ideology does not enter your brain. When you are promoting a film, you basically say, I had a great time making this film. We tried to make a really fun, engaging movie that we hope everyone will enjoy, and that's it. That's all you say. You say nothing more than that when you're promoting a movie.
Does the future hold for Hollywood at the box office? Are they eventually going to get back to printing money and entertaining the masses, or will they slide into cultural irrelevance and get replaced by cheap AI slop and foreign competitors? Time will tell, but I'm not exactly optimistic about their chances.
Like, is it Disney? I think it's Disney Plus. I saw something. I believe it was Disney Plus. It was either Disney Plus or Netflix, one of the fucking streaming services, is already talking that they are going to actually start having user-created AI projects featured on their service. I believe it was Disney Plus, if I'm not mistaken. They've said they are going to start featuring user-created AI, like short films or what have you, on their streaming service. And, well, yeah, and Disney Plus, yeah, and they're all raising the rates. Disney Plus is the first. We're going to see it with more. This is the route it's going. I suspect Hollywood is about to get grossly overshadowed by AI. What Disney's doing is Disney is testing the waters. They're testing the water to see how people will respond to these AI shorts that users put onto the platform. And if it's received positively, guess what Disney's going to be using to make all of their movies? They are going to go further and further and further using AI to create their films. This is just the dipping of the toe into it. I mean, well, yeah, Zeb, but that's kind of what I'm talking about. They're dipping their toe to see if more people start making stuff like that and posting it onto the platform, that may be the way they go. It's going to be a fuckload cheaper than hiring actors. It's going to be a fuckload cheaper than hiring full crews and getting, getting set locations and building sets and editors. Just fucking let AI do it all. It's the route that they're trying to go.
Anyway, that's all I've got for today.
That'll be perfect ending shot. Perfect ending shot.
Me.
Nice.